Hey guys, welcome to the Canada Puck Podcast, your weekly recap of what's going on in the world of sports, specifically hockey, even more specifically in Canada? Is that right? I'm your co-host Mick. You can find me on Twitter at ProfitMick, and I'm joined every episode by my talented and coherent co-host.
You're overselling it, but it's Grant on Twitter at Fourth Line Sports. You know, I was right before I hit record, I was telling Mick I'm a little less hungover than usual, so that's always a good thing. But I wouldn't brag about my coherency. I don't even know if coherency is a word. But nevertheless, we made it to the end of the season with a fairly regular schedule, I would say, albeit one that was littered with technical issues. But I think that we deserve a round of applause for being as consistent. I would say this was the most consistent Canada Puck podcast year on record.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think we actually, we communicated, which sometimes we just don't do. Like, there's been weeks before where Grant just ghosts me, and there's been weeks where I just disappear and ghost him, and we're like, at least now we're like, hey man, I'm doing this. And I was like, hey, look at that, you know? Like, it's pretty regular schedules, usually on Saturdays. We're not, like, putting it back by 7 hours because of technical difficulties, at least to begin with, so that's exciting.
The most exciting part, though, is 3 Canadian teams are in the NHL postseason. This almost never happens. In fact, we're probably going to be talking about none in the next round because that's just kind of the way the universe works. But I'm excited about some of these playoff matchups.
It is good, yeah. So we survived. Technically, the regular season still goes tonight. We have Winnipeg Jets, hence the jersey. See what I did there? And the Kraken play at noon. Why?
I think that's tomorrow. Isn't that tomorrow?
May 1st? Oh, it is tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. But why?
Maybe Pierre-Luc Dubois has, like, a bonus he has to hit.
All right, let's do this. Let's look at the standings. Is there anything going on? So if we scroll down to the bottom, no. Oh, if Seattle wins, they jump ahead of Philadelphia. Okay. All right. And if Winnipeg wins or loses, nothing happens. Cool.
This is nothing more than a formality for the Winnipeg Jets. Maybe that's a sign to go heavy on the Seattle Kraken.
But, like, I don't think Seattle wants to win. Like, because you get the third best overall odds, and if you win, you get the fourth. But I guess percentage-wise, draft lottery. What percentage do you think they moved down? Like 2.5%?
I couldn't even tell you. They constantly rejig this because they were tired of Edmonton winning, so they stacked the odds against anybody other than the top team winning. I can't even remember what the percentages landed up on.
So right now they have 11.5% chance at first. If they won, they'd be at 9.5.
So you're saying that we should back Winnipeg. This is the unofficial start to Bettor Advice today.
I guess. Just parsing through why even play this, I mean, I understand that I guess it's a Winnipeg home game. They need the revenue.
Maybe this is our sign. Maybe we should drive to Winnipeg overnight and go enjoy. I said all season I wanted to see the Kraken. Maybe I didn't say it on the podcast, but I was like, I'd like to see the Kraken. I always pictured it in Seattle. But basically, Winnipeg's Seattle of the North. Everybody knows that. So,
Winnipeg. Where do you buy StubHub? I couldn't remember that place where you buy tickets from. I was like, what's it? It's something cute. StubHub. Jets tickets. Saturday. Jets? I have no idea what I'm looking at. The Jets. V3 Theater at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino.
They got all fucky with the StubHub stuff. It's so hard to sort through now. Let me see if I can figure it out here.
I don't think... I was like, I wonder what, well, no, I don't want a playoff. I want to Winnipeg Jets. There we go.
Okay.
So if anyone's new to the podcast, this is our playoff preview. We probably don't have tons of content, so we're, really just, airing it out a little bit here. So, don't panic that you're, missing anything great, because you're not.
Well, we'll get there. I mean, he's underselling us. We are great.
Yeah, awesome. we're great. We're going to get some great stuff. And, we're just, mincing stuff. This is important. Winnipeg's last game of the season. How often does that happen?
This is a little shady. So, type into Winnipeg into StubHub. Winnipeg Folk Festival, number 1. Winnipeg Golden Eyes, number 2. Winnipeg Jets playoff parking passes. And for some reason, there's 56 upcoming events. So, figure that one out.
Is it in Seattle, maybe? Oh, here, what if I click on tickets on NHL.com? It takes me to Ticketmaster. Okay, this is good. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm going to agree to whatever that says.
God damn. The lowest price, and this is for upper goal line 328, is $47.72, and I believe that's American.
I have this one on, Canada, $81 for section 308, row 12. Could
you imagine loving hockey that much that you're willing to spend $50 to sit in the worst seats?
You can sit behind the goal for 143 Canadian. That's not terrible.
All right, let me sort by value then. Filter by value. Oh, no, that's not it.
Yeah, it's like oh man, you're like on like the goal line here for like 163. 63.
I thought they had a value function. Maybe that's only baseball tickets. But here we are. Whole bunch of all I see is upper corner 303 for 143.
And that's StubHub.
This is StubHub.
So
that's seeing different on Ticketmaster.
Ticketmaster's different. So they must still have like actual tickets you can buy, and those are just people trying to upsell.
Well, there's going to be some poor swindlers at the end of Sunday night because I don't know who's spending $153 to sit in the worst seat in the house.
It's empty.
Classic Winnipeg. This is the start of the relocation process, part 2.
Yep. Well, you guys didn't sell out that last game. I wonder who scored the very first goal this season. Do you think it was a Winnipeg Jets player? Do you think they could bookend the season with the first and last goal? Okay, we should have done some research before coming in here today. I have so many questions. I mean, how would we have known? How do we have known organically that we've been talking about this?
Pittsburgh versus Lightning.
Oh.
6-2 Pittsburgh. You know what? I will buy you a flat of beer if you get this.
Jake Gunsel.
Danton Heinen.
Danton Heinen. All right.
It was one of his 18 goals on the season.
All right. Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah. But enough dwelling on the Winnipeg Jets because we got bigger fish to fry in this edition of the Canada Puck Podcast.
Hey, yo. We made it to the playoffs, folks. And not everything, well, I don't know. We'll get to that. Turned out just the way we wanted it to. Or did it? Dun, dun, dun. No. No? All right.
I guess that's the... I forget what the word I'm thinking of. Maybe I'm not as coherent. Maybe I need to be a little more hungover to be right in the pocket, right where I need to be. But the cookie crumbs, the equivalent. If I had the source open right now, I'd type in cookie crumbs and I'd get to the word that I was looking for. But I have a feeling we're rolling into headlines right now.
Yeah, I think let's start with headlines. So, are we going to take this and Bettor Advice and, like, merge them together? Let's talk. No, let's talk. And if we have any, like, bets we want to make, we'll do our betting afterwards. We'll just talk plain series. We'll start with the non-Canadian series and then spend a little bit more time on the 3 Canadian series. So, rolling into this one. Florida Panthers, Atlantic 1 versus Wildcard 2, which is the Washington Capitals. Predictions? Thoughts?
Goals bonanza. That's what my prediction is. I don't know how we get anything other than about 8 goals a game in this one.
Nice.
The thing that I want to give Washington the edge because the playoff narrative being what it is or what I think it's going to be, there's going to be some disappointment in the first round. So I'm expecting Washington to kind of fall flat on their face. But I'm hoping the otherwise, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
The thing that scares me about Washington, Ilya Samsonov, for everything that he's done well this year, is actually a pretty fucking terrible goalie. He has I don't even know if his save percentage is above 90. His goals saved above average, so it's a negative number, which means he's actually giving up more than the hypothetical average. I don't know how Washington gets past Florida, but I'm kind of hoping it happens.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting. Series price, what I'm seeing right now. Florida minus 350, Capitals plus 275. So if you're thinking it's a close series, plus 275. Like, if you're thinking it's a little bit close, it's not horrendous. Not horrendous odds. But yeah, I agree. It's probably more in favor with the Capitals. Like, barring some type of weird injury. You could say lack of playoff experience, right? I don't know.
And that's it. Like, you could point to... Playoff experience is one thing, and, you know, those intangibles everybody likes to talk about. Florida's just really good at hockey. Like, they can put the pucks in the net. And the thing that I keep going back to is Capitals suck at stopping goals. So, I don't know. That's why plan for lots of goals and hope for Washington.
Oh, and I mean, for years of riding and dying in like playoff pools with Capitals, thinking that this was the year that they were going to go far. The Capitals also have like a terrible playoff history, right? Like, they're one of those ones that like they fall on their face more often than not. So it's kind of the team that has no flopping experience versus the team that just always seems to fall on their face. So maybe not great price, but I don't know, like almost 3-1. It's a hockey series. Right? Like, we once saw the Columbus Blue Jackets sweep the President's Trophy winning Tampa Bay Lightnings in the postseason. So nothing is impossible. We'll skip the Tampa Bay Toronto Maple Leaf series just for now. We'll move on to Carolina Boston series prices. What do we got? Bruins even. Hurricanes minus 120. So they're thinking it's going to be a little bit closer here. I'm thinking probably favors one of these teams more than the other.
The thing that I'm struggling with on this one is I don't know the health of Frederick Anderson, because I know that he hasn't played the last couple of years, the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
and
as a Leafs fan, he hasn't played for the last couple of years either. Like, he's just...
Oh man, such the shadiest version of Canada Puck podcast yet.
Yeah,
but Frederick Anderson, health is a big question mark for me. Antti Ranta, their backup goalie, actually had to leave a week ago. He had to leave the contest early. He's played since then. Nevertheless, goaltending between the pipes, it's a bit of a red flag for me. And Boston, we've seen Boston kind of hit their stride on the second half of the season. I could easily see Boston upsetting Carolina in the first round as well.
Interesting. Yeah, looking at it, I like the depth that they have on the back end in Carolina. I like some of the pieces they have up front. But yeah, if you're telling me that I actually didn't know the goalie, so I pulled up Cap Friendly here, just kind of give myself a refresher. If you're telling me that there's questionable health on the back end, speaking of guys that don't have favorable playoff histories, then yeah, I could see that being a pain in the butt, you know. And those Bruins, they on the other hand, I mean, not that they have a great goaltending playoff experience at this point, but they do seem like one of those frisky teams that you can't really like kill, right? Like, they're a cockroach almost. Like, just can't get rid of them.
You know, cockroaches is probably the most appropriate analogy for Brad Marchand and the Boston Bruins.
Mm-hmm.
These two teams are analytics darling. So this game, and I think that's why this series price is where it's at. And I mean, typically, if you look at a 1 versus wild card team, you're like, oh, one team's definitely going to win. But I don't think it's foregone conclusion in this one. No real read on it. But again, you know, if goaltending, all things being equal, if goaltending is an issue for the Carolina Hurricanes, that gives the Boston Bruins a big advantage.
Yeah, 100%. And if you're talking about just like, Marchand, Bergeron, they know what's up. Even Pasternak, like, I think those three, like, I would almost say they're probably the 3 best players in the series, which probably doesn't bode well for the Hurricanes.
Yeah,
right?
Bunch of jerks.
Bunch of fucking jerks. And Vegas, I mean, they have a pretty good read on it, the fact that they are even if we're talking about like Swayman versus Anderson. I would say one of those goalies is probably better, but go from there. This series might be a lot of fun. The New York Rangers, the up-and-coming, the rebuilt, the new established Rangers 2.0 versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. What are the series prices here? Penguins minus 115, Rangers minus 105. You're not making any money on this series. You got to pay up if you want to cash in. So
I think what we're seeing here is basically people flocking towards the playoff experience of the Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've seen in the analytics from the Rangers throughout the season, and I've talked about it at times throughout the season, is that Rangers are one of the most overachieving teams in the league. So and they corrected a little bit over the second half of the season, and they brought some of their advanced metrics up. However, I still think that they are like one of those fall flat on your face type teams in the postseason, because Pittsburgh, and this is like the classic matchup for them, where they're pitted against something that just like is going to neutralize. Pittsburgh doesn't get a lot of credit for the defensive brand of hockey that they play, but it's exactly what's needed to basically, squash the New York Rangers' top scorers. This is going to be a lower scoring series. I don't think that this is going to, like, if the Penguins are planning on running and gunning with the Rangers, they're going to get their asses handed to them. So I think that this is just going to be like one of those like 2-1, 3-2 overtime series. At least three games in this series go to overtime.
All right. And if we learned anything from the last couple weeks, you've been following along, we know that Jeff Carter, who has a lot of experience, plays for the Penguins. See? I do pay attention. So between him and, hold on, what's the other guy? Sidney Crosby, apparently he plays for Pittsburgh too, and he might be good, so.
And he even said,
I wasn't sure if that was a funnier joke, me pretending to have to like look up Sidney Crosby's name, or if I was like an Alex Lafreniere kind of coming out party. I don't know.
No, that was the right place to go. Right. I appreciate the Sidney Crosby joke. That was good.
That's a good one. All right. For myself, I don't really have a read. Of all the series we've talked about, this one is probably the most attractive. I think this is probably the best brand of hockey. We're going to kind of between these two kind of squads, these metropolitan-y teams, right? It should be most interesting. I don't know.
It should be good. And like I said, I think that this is one of those classic playoff series, like the overtime, like the classic overtime goals, the momentum swings. We'll talk a little bit more about this in betting advice, because I'm feeling a little reckless today, and I got a lot of ground to make up. So,
I get to brag later. That's pretty exciting. All right.
But that leads us to the premier Eastern Conference matchup, at least from a Canada podcast perspective, because it is the only one that features a Canadian team, and not even just any Canadian team. Basically, the Canadian team that everybody loves to just suck off.
Well, I was gonna say, like, Grant, you're underselling it. Not just the premier, like, this is the best series of all time. The Toronto Maple Leafs are in the postseason. They did it. They made it. Man, how great are the Toronto Maple Leafs? Not only do they have the Art Ross winner, they've got the Vezina winner. They're gonna get the Norris winner. They got the President's Trophy even. You know, they're gonna get all the trophies.
What do they call that in soccer? The treble? They're going to have the treble. They're going to have the NHL treble. Every possible trophy.
They maybe didn't earn some of them, but they don't care. Okay? They don't care. It's a corrupt system. This is the FIFA of hockey.
It's so funny you say that. I saw just a FIFA video this morning as I was waking up perusing internet. You know that one where they throw all the money at Sepp Blatter?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. All right. So here we go. 1A, 1-2. There was a little bit of drama last night. There was a chance that the Bruins actually could have leapfrogged the Lightning if the cards played out just right. But those pesky Leafs, they beat the Bruins. And Tampa Bay came back and beat the Islanders. So there you go. We get it done. 2-time reigning champs versus the choke artists. Series price, Lightning plus 110. I think we all know where my money's going. And the Leafs minus 130. I don't know. Is this the year?
You're not the type of a person to rule out an emotional hedge at plus money. I will say that.
Oh, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I don't even know how. I might just make one play today. Like, just be like, no, this is good.
Yeah, Toronto. Big, kudos to them. What we've seen, I don't want to talk about how good Toronto is. I want to talk about, because everybody in the media is doing that. I want to talk about how bad Tampa is.
Yep.
Tampa Bay has pooped themselves towards the end of the season. They've been outplayed in, I want to say, 9 of their final 13 games, something along those lines. Their expected goals for percentage has dipped below 50 over that span. They're having a hard time. Last night's, comeback victory notwithstanding, they're having a hard time building offensive momentum. And I don't think, granted, 2 Stanley Cup runs is going to catch up with somebody. You win the cup back to back. You basically get 2-month off seasons. They continue to finagle. They're trading away picks for playoff runs. Mm-hmm. I think it all just kind of comes crashing down this year. And Toronto, I want to say in 6 games or less.
Yeah, no, and my wallet, my money will not be saying the same thing. But I kind of agree with you too, right? Like, it just, we see it time and time and again, right? Like, yes, Tampa Bay is fine, but I don't know, is the check due, as it were, right? They have to pay up, so.
And yeah, one thing that I said I wasn't going to do, so I'm going to do it anyways. Yeah. I've been impressed with Toronto's scoring depth, and we saw that Austin Matthews go cold to end the season. He got to 60. Fuck him. I don't really care if he gets to 60 or not. But in the absence of Matthews scoring, we saw other guys like Ilya Mikheyev.
Yep.
He's a talent. We're seeing guys like Mitch Marner continue to get underappreciated in Toronto for all of his contributions. They've got that 6-second line with Johnny T. So all things considered, Toronto's heading into the postseason in a great place. And truthfully, I don't think minus 130 does this series price justice. I think that this is going to be sorted out a little bit more handily than minus 130.
Interesting. I was listening to something, and it was more a reference to basketball, and you're just better off actually not, like, series prices are almost kind of just throwing your money away. Like, you're better off just riding individual games, and you'll eventually, like, end up kind of further ahead at the end of the line, right? And then if you're mistaken, right, like, you could probably potentially hedge, make some money, and still kind of win, even if it's a loss. That makes sense. But notwithstanding, we're going to talk about series prices today. Yeah, again, you can probably guess, if you're a fan of the podcast, where my money's going based on just what I'm seeing on this sheet here. So, the old emotional hedge.
One thing that I do, well, I guess to elaborate maybe on Mick's point, the hedging. I like hedging in the postseason. Mm-hmm. And one great way to do it is to look at the futures board in the first round and then series prices beyond that. Because basically what he's describing is exactly what somebody take one of the horses on the board, say, and I'm not doing this, but example that comes to mind is Edmonton, who I think had the 4th best odds in the Western Conference, although they're steep favorites against the Kings. All of a sudden you take them at 10-1, 8-1, whatever it is they're at, and then in the next round against the Flames, you can take the Flames on as a hedging, either on the series price or on the futures board, and then you're only on the hook for $200 with 2+ money favorites, and then from there it's just gravy because you got 2 rounds past that, and it's a little easier to make money. So,
all right. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll be this guy and I'll just pull that Band-Aid off too. The Leafs losing in the first round this year would be kind of funny. There's much turmoil and like content that would provide all the networks. People could yell and sit on their soapboxes and scream, and like it would be really funny, right? Like if they got swept by the Lightning, you'd be like realignment. Would we see realignment next year just because of this?
No, we wouldn't see realignment, but we would see, what's his name? Kyle Dubas. Kyle Dubas' life would be in shambles. Have you seen already? He's already fucking letting himself go.
Yeah.
Like, in anticipation of the letdown that's forthcoming. I can't even imagine that poor guy if the Leafs don't win a playoff round, because inevitably he has worn this like a badge of honor. Mm-hmm. This is his team that he has built for better or for worse. If it gets worse than what it's been, I don't care how good the regular season is. I don't care if Austin Matthews wins the Hart Trophy. If they don't win a playoff series, Kyle Dubas is being sent packing.
And like that's gonna be he's like I did nothing wrong. He's like I did everything right. He's like maybe Nick Ritchie, but like he's like I turned that into Labushkin or whatever. He's like I did. Yeah, get out of here. You're a bum.
Could you imagine old Kyle Dubas on Dundas and Young dancing with a coffee cup, trying to make Toronto living type money? Oh man!
I mean, if he walked away, he would be hired again in a second by somebody else, right? Like, that's one of those guys, he's finding a job pretty simply, so don't feel bad for him.
All right, yeah. Whether it's back in the OHL or elsewhere, he's got a hockey future. There's no doubt about it.
This is the most Toronto I've ever seen. Like, they are favored. They are favored to playoff, and we're already firing the GM. Awesome, great. Let's move on to the West. I've had enough of that. So.
West featuring 2 Canadian teams in the postseason, which is exciting stuff.
Oh, and the webpage is like laid out perfectly that they're going to be the last 2 we talk about. I like that. First up, though, because Grant can't see my screen, is going to be Colorado versus Nashville. Series prices on that are plus 450 for the Preds and minus 600 for the Avalanche. Grant, how many $600 are you betting on the Avalanche to win?
You know what? I talked a little bit about this with the Florida Panthers, and maybe they fall flat on their faces. I actually expect Colorado to fall flat on their faces. They are the new Toronto Maple Leafs, and they continue to just poop themselves in the playoffs. I think that this is the new team where people are going to be like, what the fuck are they doing wrong? I don't think that they're going to make it out of the first round. I'm not betting any $600 on the Colorado Avalanche. If I had $600 to bet, I would bet it all on Nashville at plus 450. It just doesn't make sense to me, this series price. I know Colorado's great. I know they do all these things really well. Mm-hmm. But to suggest that they have what is that? Let me do some quick math here.
Math is fun, kids. Math can get you many places in life. There's not a lot of careers out there that you don't need math, so study hard, pay attention, and figure out a squared plus b squared.
85.7% chance. That was a good plug. Thanks for filling that air.
All right.
85.7% implied probability that Colorado gets past Nashville. I don't think it's that high. I think that this is something that feels like a trap. Like, go ahead, invest your tens of dollars in the Colorado Avalanche. It's not a foregone conclusion that Nashville just rolls over. Nashville can keep pace with them offensively. We see Nashville do great things offensively all season. They need to steal 1 away from home and then sweep 3 at home, and I don't think that's out of the realm of a possibility.
Well, I don't know. I don't know the Avalanche history exactly, but I do kind of feel like they have fallen flat on their face the last couple of years. They haven't shown a high level of success, right? Like, I don't think these guys are battle tested that badly. Like that truly. That yeah, you're right. That it does seem kind of a foregone conclusion. And I also feel like you're just backing all the underdogs on today's show. So the one thing, talk about the biggest underdog in the world. We're not even talking about like maybe the best rivalry in sports is Matt Duchene returning as a Predator to face his former team that just abandoned him wholesale after taking him first, or at least early on in the draft. Matt Duchene versus the Avalanche. McKinnon versus Duchene. I'm going to tune in. I'm not tuning in.
I think I would say that's not a narrative that I thought of. How long has it been? It's been a few years since
he got traded to Ottawa?
Okay, so I pulled it up here.
All
the Avs playoff history. So
yes.
Last year they, oh god, why is this all bunged up? Last year, lost in second round, lost in second round, lost in second round, lost in first round. Not a great playoff track record. I mean, a little fucking braggy if you're a Leafs fan, saying getting out of the first round and all, but I would say that.
But did it like 2 of those years they just beat the Flames out of the first round? Like they like swept the Flames or something as like an underdog? Like I think that happened in two of those years. So I'm like, all right, cool.
And this is what I mean. Like, I don't think Colorado has the playoff pedigree to be minus 600 favorites. Not for me. Price is not for me.
All right. Well then, I wonder if the next series does, which is Minnesota, which is the Central number 2 versus St. Louis, the Central number 3. Good job, St. Louis. Way to make the postseason. You won a Stanley Cup. You're still kicking around. Good for you. Blues plus 140, Wild minus 160. All right.
Blues are the Rangers of the West. I don't think that St. Louis deserves Fine. They deserve to be in the playoffs. They do not deserve to be third. They've overachieved all year. Wild with Marc-Andre Fleury is a sick hockey team. I like Minnesota, minus 164.
That's about as much I was going to say. I was like, I kind of feel like on paper they're probably a little bit better, Minnesota. And then if you add just the back end of the Fleury playoff experience, you should be getting, I don't know, that extra edge. And I can't see the Blues surpass. Like, do the Blues have a game changer currently on their roster that like scares you if you're the Wild?
No, I don't think anybody should be scared of the Blues.
Except for I don't know colors well enough to make like a color wheel joke. So yeah, all right.
Cyan. Is there a blue cyan somewhere in there? There's got to be a blue cyan joke. Anyways,
All right.
I don't know. I could see for whether Colorado makes it out of the first round or not. Minnesota is representing the West in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that they're going to be a tough out. Like they're that kind of that well balanced team. They've got that like Kaprizov up front, that kind of that scary element. They've got solid goaltending, right? Like Fleury, in theory, readies the net. I don't know if Cam Talbot does anything for you, but
I think that this is just falls squarely on Marc-Andre Fleury's shoulders. And to speak to your point, they are well balanced. They play defense better than almost any team in the NHL, especially at home. So the benefit of home ice advantage is probably one of their more underrated things in the playoffs. So whether it's St. Louis or whether they can, eventually get home ice advantage against one of the teams in the West in the Western Conference Final, I think that Minnesota Wild's going to make some noise this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if the stars align just right, Minnesota being in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Speaking of stars, Calgary is the first team of the Pacific, and they're playing the wild card number one after some jucking and diving and coyotes last night. They play the Dallas Stars. It's exciting stuff. Series prices on that one. Where are we at? Series prices. Stars plus 230. Flames minus 280.
I'm not hiding anything with this one either. I like the Flames. I've talked about my fondness for the way that they play, and that is from an analytics perspective. They've been one of the best in the NHL all year. I don't think that the Stars have the firepower or the structure to keep pace with them. And the thing that just clinches it for me is Jake Oettinger, God bless his heart, has been great for Dallas this year. But I don't think that they can neutralize the Flames scoring. Even at home, with home ice advantage, I don't see how that they limit, the top line of Kachuk, Lindholm, and Goudreau. I don't know how they stop Monahan and Toffoli. Dubé is another guy who's been finding his way onto the score sheet to end of the season. Any way you cut it, the Flames have an advantage, and I'm willing to bet that we will see Calgary in the second round.
Is this a more favorable matchup than the Predators?
I would say yes, 100%. The thing about that Nashville does really well that they don't really get a lot of credit for is that they have a lot of elite finishing talent. Dallas does not possess that. They don't have, like, Jason Robertson hit 40 goals. That's awesome. I don't think the casual hockey fan will be able to tell you Jason Robertson is in his second year after finishing, second in Rookie of the Year voting, and he's basically their top threat to score. So, no, I don't think.
So you're saying
Rube Hintz and Johnny Gaudreau going head-to-head? You tell me who wins that matchup, Mick.
I didn't even know that Rube Hintz was a hockey player, so I'm going to go with Let It Grow for Johnny Gaudreau. There we go. Nice. All right. That means that we're down to the end of the line. We get the Oilers versus the Kings. I believe I saw a plus sign. Plus 205 next to the Kings, minus 245 for the Oilers. That means the books say the Battle of Alberta might be on in the second round. We deserve this. Like, of all the shit we've done, we've put up with in the last little while, This would make it all right. So, all right. So Oilers, Kings. Oh, did we lose Grant? What happened? Uh-oh, dead air. Yeah. So we're looking plus. I think that's probably where we're headed. If I like readjust this, anything happening? No, everything's just frozen. That's cool. All right, I'll just keep talking. Maybe he'll reappear. Oh, that was like a new face. Dead air. I like the. I think it kind of comes down to just want to play the things. The Kings might have, like, Cal Patterson might have an advantage on the back end, maybe, compared to kind of the mess that the Oilers have in net there. But I think it's probably a lot closer than you would think. Oilers probably have a better defensive. Oh, well, that's a shame. All right, so Grant's gone. Bye, Grant. Bye. And now everyone can see your name right here. I don't know if they can see my name, but we definitely have your name. Call him back, maybe? Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop. No, he's not online. Bye, Grant. He'll call me back. So Oilers, yeah, plus, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking too from the heart. I say that's a tough one of them not coming up with the Kings. I know they've had some trauma in the past, some ghosts they have to shake off. I feel good that all the Canadian teams probably do shake their ghosts off this year, right? Get over the first round and then kind of have to look into things. So, better. Am I going to put money on either of these series? I don't think so. Like, I don't even think putting, let's say if we went like Oilers, Flames, what do you think the odds of that are? Probably not great. No, that's not what I want. I want to do that. Yep. And we're going to go Flames, Oilers to meet in the second round. Minus 110. I don't know if that's worth it, to be honest with you. So, yeah. That's a shame that we don't have Grant on the line, because he is the man to talk to about this. I want to get a fan perspective, kind of figure out where he's at. And all right, let's call him again. Because now I'm just running out of stuff to just talk about. Leave dead air. Oh, Skype. Oh, no, Grant's not here. That's too bad. Oh well. Other things we could talk about. I don't think we're doing Bettor or FanDuel lineups. Fantasy, we suck at. We're not doing it. We ran pools in the past. Probably the weakest part of our show anyways. So I think it's just dead. It's a good dead segment. Maybe we'll pick it up again next year. I don't know. We'll talk about that and go from there. Do I reboot Skype? Do I leave the video running? No. Let's end this video. Yeah.